Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. If you have not clicked on one of my videos before, thank you so much and welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have clicked on one before and you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on one of my videos again. So today is going to be part 2 of the physician assistant Q&A. I have all of the questions pulled up on here, and I'm going to go ahead and start off with the one that I forgot from the last one if you watched that. If you didn't watch the first video, I'll pop that up here or somewhere on the screen so that you guys can go ahead and click on that, and I'll also have it linked in the description box if you want to just wait until after this video to go ahead and click on that. A lot of new things around here, including my hair. So I know in the last video that I recorded, my hair was a bit darker. I did have it lightened since then. So same person, same info, new hair. That's all. Okay. But before we get started, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy videos like this and you want to see more. And I really appreciate it. It lets me know what you guys like for in the future as well. So that, and then also if you want to join me and my Instagram fam on Instagram, I'll put that right here. I post physician assistant things. I also post a lot about fitness and health and just living a balanced lifestyle, because that's the name of my game and that is what I'm all about. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first question that I'm finishing off from last time was best and worst part of being a PA. I talked about PA school in the last one, best and worst part. So this is best and worst part about being a PA. So best part, I think, is just being able to make a difference in people's lives. And I knew from the start when I was younger that I wanted to help people, and medical field was something I was drawn to. Then I found out about the physician assistant career and it was perfect for me, and I'm so glad that I still get to help people. I still get to be a provider and make decisions and treatment plans and try to figure out what's going on with people and help them. I love that. I love when someone comes to me with a problem and I'm actually able to help them solve it and figure it out and treat them and get them feeling better. I love that. I think that's that. So then I think the worst thing, if you want to say worst, but it's really not that bad. I feel like I would only say this if I was like really complaining, but would be like the charting. I think you find that in the nursing field and any other medical provider, really anyone that's in the medical field now that we have electronic medical records, charting can be very time consuming. So it just takes away from the time you get to spend with your patients. And yeah, so that's what I would say would be the worst part. Any tips for first year PA students? So first year is didactic year. Didactic year is the year where you're in the classroom and studying, PowerPoints, and it can be very, very mentally draining if you do not take care of yourself. So I think tips for first year PA students are to remember to try to find balance in the midst of all the studying. So be sure you take care of your mental health and your physical health, eat good things, get good sleep as much as you can. I understand as well that you're gonna have late night studying, but also make sure you do spend time with friends and loved ones when you can. Don't just shut them off all the way, because it actually, even if it's just a couple hours, spending that time with the people that you love and care about can rejuvenate your brain, and then you actually study better later on. That's something that took me a little while to figure out. I kept putting it off and like thinking I needed to study. I couldn't hang out with anyone or spend time with anyone, but when I would take that time away from studying, I found that then when I returned to studying, I had a clearer mind, I felt better, and it worked. So I really think just do not neglect yourself and take care of yourself. Next question, why did you choose to become a PA? For me, the big things that made me want to become a PA was I knew I wanted to be a medical provider, but when I found out about the physician assistant career and how you could be a medical provider but not have to go to school as long, that was a big thing for me. Some people, they don't mind the schooling, and that's good if that's everyone's different, but for me, I did not want to be in school for the years that it takes to become a physician. So when I found out that I could get a master's degree and still be a provider, that was huge. So one of the reasons was the schooling, the amount of time it takes to become a PA was very appealing. The second reason I would say would be the work-life balance is really good. It depends on the specialty you go into, but that's another thing, is you can switch specialties, which I'll talk about here in a second. So, but the work-life balance essentially is really good for physician assistants. So I found that, you know, working in primary care, especially for me, I get weekends off, I get holidays off. I got the opportunity to have Thursdays off, so I only work 4 days a week, and that's really awesome. And for me, I love that. The third big reason would be that we get to switch specialties without having to go back to school. So physician assistants are trained as general medical practitioners, so we learn every single body system as if we could go into any specialty, so that when we get out of school we can go into any specialty. Physician assistants are most known for going into primary care. That's what the role was developed for, is to help in primary care. However, it's branched out and you can find physician assistants in almost any specialty. So I'm in primary care right now. If one day I wanted to stop and switch and go into surgery, I could do that without having to go back to school. Or if I wanted to go into emergency room or pediatrics or women's health or whatever it is, I don't have to go back to school. There are some different things changing with that. There are starting to be like fellowships and things that PAs can go into for more advanced specialties like acute care, trauma. But right now you don't have to go back to school and you can just switch, which I love, because I don't like having to be, I never liked the idea of becoming a doctor and having to stick to one specialty your whole life, because I think we evolve and the things that we like evolve. And so yeah, those are my reasons. Somebody asked, when did you start studying for the PANCE? PANCE is the test that we have to take. It's our board's exam as physician assistants. Like the nurses have the NCLEX, doctors have boards as well. Ours is just called the PANCE. So when did I start studying for the PANCE? I actually did not start studying until I was completely finished with my rotations and had graduated. And so I graduated beginning of July. It was like right after the 4th of July, and I took my PANCE at the end of July. So I gave myself, I think it was like 3.5 weeks to study, and I studied from PANCE Prep Pearls and what was the other one called? Smarty Pants, and then Rosh Review, and those were the 3 things I used to study. And I made a study schedule and I stuck to it, and that's how I studied. If you want to know more about that, I can go into further detail at a different time, but for now that's when I started studying. How did you make yourself competitive to get into PA school? So I actually have an entire YouTube video on my physician assistant school application story. I actually did not get in the first time I applied. It took me 2 cycles to get in. If you're interested in that video, I can also put that linked in the description box, and I'll put it up here somewhere. What is one thing you wish you did as an undergrad? I wish I would have started getting my patient care hours a little bit earlier. I think that's one of the reasons I did not get in the first time I applied, was I didn't have quite enough hours. And so I would have started a little bit earlier and maybe went a little bit harder like during the summers with my hours or things like that. How soon in undergrad should I begin preparing applications? I think once you decide to become a physician assistant, that's what you want to do, I would go online and Google, what is the website? PAEA, that's what it's called, PAEA. That website it lists out all the different physician assistant programs in the country, and it tells you all of the things that each of them require. So you can start thinking about maybe where you would want to go to school and what program you'd want to go to. And then, so the first thing I would do is, like, if you decide freshman year you want to be, or even before freshman year of undergrad, that you want to become a physician assistant, then I would look up and see what it takes to apply and become competitive to apply to physician assistant school, and look at your schedule and see what you can start with. Probably start with volunteering, shadowing, those kinds of things, and start knocking those out early. That's what I would do. How did you go about finding your first job? I talked about this in my last Q&A, so go and check that out. Let's see. How realistic would it be for a single mom to go through PA school? I want to, but I have bills currently, but scared I couldn't make it through school and work full-time and raise my son. Okay, so for this one, I read this one a little bit ago, and I think Well, I think it would depend. I'm not a mom, so I can't say 100% from that aspect. But I do feel like if there are people in your life that can help you take care of your son, like whether it's parents, friends, family, that would be able to watch them when you need extra time to study or things like that, then it's totally doable. I had a few moms in my class, in my physician assistant class. They weren't single moms, so that's a little bit different. But I remember one mom specifically would like go to bed at 7 or 8 p.m. with her son and then sleep for like 6 hours and wake up at like 3 or 4 in the morning to study and get her studying done. And she was one of the top students in our class every single test. She graduated at the top of the class. She, again, wasn't a single mom, but she was very involved in her son's life. And so I think it's doable. I do think though that you would have to really weigh working full-time and doing it, because I think working full-time and going to PA school by itself is very difficult. I had no one in my class that could do it. So working full-time, being a single mom, and going to PA school, I would definitely think about taking out loans if you can, if that's in your alley. I don't want to speak for you, I don't know your whole story, but that's just kind of my suggestion to what I think. I, again, just in general, think that if it's something that you really want and you can line up things in your life to help make it work for you, then you can do it. I think that we limit ourselves a lot, and I think it's important to just know that if you want something, that it can be done. You just have to figure out the ways to get it done. So I would say be realistic, make sure you find help, think about taking out loans, and if you want it, you can do it. And again, not a single mom, so I'm not saying, or not a single mom, not a mom, so I can't speak very specifically, but that would be my take on it. Do you have any regrets being a PA? This is a hard one because I want to be really honest with you all. It's not that I would regret being a PA, but I have already gone through times of burnout, and I think when anyone goes through burnout in their career, they start to question their career choice. This occurred to me actually in PA school. I was extremely burnt out from studying, and I was questioning if it was worth it, if it's something that, was it going to pay off, was I going to love it, and I started to really question, why did I get into this, why am I putting myself through this? And it was the burnout speaking, not necessarily me. So there were times where I wouldn't say regretted it, but definitely questioned it. There are certain things now that I question as well, but it's not necessarily my career as a PA. It's more thinking about different specialties and things, and I don't want to go much into it more than that, but that's just my honest answer. I wouldn't say I regret it at all. I actually don't regret anything in my life, so that's a big no. I don't regret anything, but there have been times when I've questioned it, that's honest, but I'm very happy with where I'm at now, and I'm really grateful I stuck it through, and I think it's normal if you question it. So yeah, no, I did not regret it at all. How long did it take for you to find a job? Again, I talked about this one and the last one, lots of questions on my job. I graduated in July, took my boards at the end of July, and I got my job in September, and I didn't start until end of October. What is the difference between family medicine and primary care? That's a good question. So primary care, I use it interchangeably, primary care and family medicine, but really I'm in family medicine, primary care, family medicine. So primary care is like the that you go to for your preventative physicals, your physical exams, your checkups when you were a kid. If you have like a cold or a cough or like just a problem that isn't an emergency that you need checked out, that you go to, that's your primary care provider. Now, primary care can be, there can be primary care pediatrics, so you're just with kids. There's primary care family medicine. Family medicine specifically works with newborns through adults, like you work with all age groups. So that's why it's called family, like an entire family could come see you essentially. And then there's primary care for adults, which is essentially internal medicine. So I hope that answers that. I'm in primary care, but I'm in family medicine. So I work with kiddos through adults, but I do primary care in the sense that I do physical exams, I do preventative exams, and I'm the first person they come to with a non-emergency problem. Hi, I'm officially a sophomore in college now. What are some things I should do to get patient care experience? I would start looking up things that you're interested in that you just need like a certification for in order to work in that field. So like a medical assistant or a nurse's aide, that's what I was, that's what I became. I eventually became a patient care assistant in the hospital, but with my nursing aide license. That's what I did. Let's see, other people in my class were phlebotomists. We had like ER techs, scribes, a lot of scribes. That's a really good one if you don't have time or money to like get another license or certification. What else? I'm not sure. Just I would do a lot of research and start to figure out what would make the most sense for you and where you are in life, how much time you have and what you're interested in, and just get going with that, because the more hours you get, the more competitive your application is. How did you deal with criticism, if any, from friends or family about choosing physician assistant over other med jobs? I don't really get any criticism at all, which is really good. However, it wasn't really necessarily family or friends. I remember when I was working jobs like to apply to physician assistant school, specifically as a server and bartender, I did that on the side to get extra money while working at the hospital. I had people ask like, why not doctor or why not nurse practitioner? And for me, I just explained to them. I don't know if they necessarily meant to be rude, but sometimes it would come off rude, like, well, why not doctor? Like, so I just explained to them exactly how I just explained to you guys why I chose physician assistant, and hopefully in that way too it kind of educates them to make them understand, and just it's one more person that understands the physician assistant role a little bit better. So that's what I would do, is just kind of try to educate them on what a physician assistant can do and the benefits of it, and the benefits of being one. I'm gonna do one more and then I'm gonna end this one here. So let's choose. Let's just go over this one because I'm getting a lot of questions about that. Why did you choose PA over doctor or NP? I talked about the medical school one kind of when I talked about why I chose to become a physician assistant, but so I don't think I addressed the why PA over NP, and it's physician assistant over nurse practitioner for those of you who are not familiar. I did not choose, or nurse practitioner was something I was going to do as well if I didn't get into PA school the second time around, so there's nothing against it at all. For me, it just made more sense. I had gone into undergrad as a traditional science student and I got my degree in biology, so I wasn't on the course to becoming a nurse. And to be a nurse practitioner, you have to be a nurse first and get a certain amount of hours working as an RN or a higher nursing degree. And so for me, it just didn't make sense. At that point, when I decided to become a physician assistant, I was already halfway through my undergrad. I would have had to go back, do all the nursing prereqs that I hadn't had, start nursing school, go through nursing school, get my nursing hours, and so for me it just didn't make sense. But nothing against nurse practitioners. I definitely looked into that as another option. But I'm going to end this one here. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for your questions. I will go ahead and put part 3 up here shortly as well for you all, and let's see, I can definitely do more of these in the future, or we can go off on a specific subject if you guys are interested and do a whole video about that. Leave in the comments below if you're interested in a video on a certain topic, like how I got my job or things like that. Other than that, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.